What's up, guys? Got another deck list for you today. Now, this deck list is for a game called Project Z. It's a fan continuation of like the Panini Z, like kind of the Score Z games. It's kind of a mix of both of those two together with some of its own direction and insight. The creator Chris Kreitzman and I have played, we played a few games here and there, but I've had a lot of conversations with him about this game, and I really enjoy the direction that he's taken it. It's been around for about, I think, 2 years now. Uh, it might be a little longer actually. I think not too much longer after Panini Z ended up getting discontinued. I know Chris was already starting to work on it and look at it. I can't remember the exact time he started, but it was around sometime around then. And I've come to really actually like this. It's got a lot of development by Chris, a lot of time and effort put into it. He does a really good job at representing a fair amount of the characters in Dragon Ball Z through MP representation, as well as just kind of like flavor design. He, I don't really think there's really any of the MPs that really like don't at least have some viability. Some more so than others. Some are just more practically like across the board generically strong, I think, and more outright. But there's some really cool combinations, I think, with pretty much every MP. He's covered up to the cell games as of the posting of this video, or at least about to be covering through cell games. The next set, of course, is going to be releasing in a few days, I believe, from now. But this is a really fun game. I really like it. He does a lot to streamline the game. He takes away MPPV as a win condition, as well as makes ball victory a lot more interactable and a lot more fun. So as you can see, there's the 7 Dragon Balls here. They don't have effects, but they also just start the game on the board in a neutral zone. So think of them as they just kind of start in the middle of the board, and both you and the opponent trade off kind of capturing them and using them for your own effects, which is really cool. Nail's MP stack specifically, which I really like the flavor of this, is that he plays around kind of stopping your opponent from capturing the Dragon Balls, and he's all about returning them. And a keyword in this game is like a return a Dragon Ball. That just means you take it from somebody's possession who owns it, and then you put it back in the neutral zone. So really cool mechanic. With survival and ball victory really being the two main win conditions, there are, I think, at the timing of this, there is only one alternate win condition right now. They do have like a reprint of Dragon's Victory, if you know what that card does, as an alternate win condition. It's a bit different in this game. It's kind of hard to pull off, much harder than it was in the other games, I'd argue. I was actually wrecking house pretty hard with it before it got changed, which is another thing. Chris is pretty good at kind of like taking vocal feedback from people, and because it's a virtual format, you can very easily edit in everything. So that's actually one thing I really like is when people do have issues with things, or there are bounce issues or tweaks or whatever that need to be done, buffs included. There's been quite a few MPs who've gotten buffed. Uh, there's been a lot of that. So I really do enjoy. It's just very small community, very intimate, very I don't necessarily say intimate, but just very like quick to hear feedback. But anyway, I'll get into kind of the way that this deck works is it plays around rejuvenation and kind of ball control. So it really tries to win by both win conditions. But specifically, you really focus on denying your opponent ball victory. Nail is all about kind of capturing Dragon Balls on his level 1, 2, and 3, as well as kind of returning them as well, which is really cool. He does get benefits when your opponent takes Dragon Balls, so it kind of incentivizes you to take Dragon Balls and pressure your opponent into doing that. He has active rejuvenation, which pairs very well with the green style, which has multiple effects that activate when rejuvenated. This green mastery, for example, green searching mastery, allows me to pick a setup or an ally from my discard pile and put it into play if it would be rejuvenated. So really cool effect. And while Nail doesn't necessarily have targeted rejuvenation, he does, bring some rejuvenation to the table. So running more cards with when rejuvenated effects only makes more sense. And you might get lucky and flop a board card over perfectly in the discard pile. But I really liked Nail in general. He's like just a cool character to me. He doesn't really do much in this show, but he's just really cool. Kind of, I've always had kind of an affinity for him, and I really like how he's handled in this game. He denies ball victory to your opponent early in the game, and then kind of on 3 and 4 he starts to rejuve and have some resilience as well, which is really cool. His 3 pushes him to 4, and his 4 gives you like that smoothness drill effect that you get in Panini Z, which is really cool, as well as just like a prevention. So he's effectively getting like a plus like 3 or 4 because he's got an attack, a prevent, and he gets to hold cards. He's just really cool. I really like the flavor of him in this game. With no MPPV, there's overall a little less anger hate in this game. There is more level hate getting introduced, like just straight up like D level people hate getting introduced. But there are a lot of like cards that can auto level as well as just gain anger. Most of that's one of the design changes that I really like is just everybody is incentivized to anger, but you can still there's still definitely decks that camp that work totally fine and are viable, but they're not like just broken, busted, consistent either, which I think is really cool. How that got balanced, and I don't feel like physical beats sucks either, which is really really weird. But with all the leveling in the game, I think physical beats is actually like really healthy and fine, because energy beats doesn't like none of the like we're not at the point in this game where like modifiers are just busted as all heck. So it's actually really cool. I really think the format is just all around really good and balanced. There's like so much viability for everybody. We'll get into the deck actually though to kind of talk about the whole style though. Green is pretty much replacing the Saiyan and Namekian styles. So you see a lot of rejuvenation themes, some destroy themes. Most of the style, all the styles at this point have 3 masteries, soon to be 4, and then like 2 sets from now. I really liked the theme of destroying cards and the tutoring with rejuvenation, so that's why I picked this mastery. But I went into the card choices. I didn't run too many blocks. Neil has stage gain on his level 1 and rejuvenation on all of his levels, and a physical block on his 2. So I figured I could get away with only 3 physical blocks and 3 energy blocks dedicated. They both have to do with when they're destroyed from my deck, which Neil can destroy from his own deck on level 2, as well as some other card effects in the deck. But I mostly play just a suite of energy attacks with either when rejuvenated or uh, mostly they deal with rejuvenation or giving me anger, which is really cool. Um, Pretty simple. I have a little bit of board clear in these two. Playful Gust is a really cool card, as well as Green Launcher is pretty neat to help me push some extra damage. I'll get into the physical attacks here. They're pretty much utility. Green Backhand is purely to like let me cherry pick anything out of my pile. Usually I'm going to pick a board card with this because it lets me pick any card on my pile. If I pick a board card like an ally or styled setup, I get to put it in play with a mastery, which is really cool. We also have 2 attacks. Critical damage, of course, carried over into this game, as well as, well, there's a few other keywords. Focused is in here as well. Crippling just got removed, but it's like was unpreventable, but now there's just unpreventable. We have utility mainly on these physical attacks, so they're just all about either dealing critical damage, so that way I can just go take a Dragon Ball from the neutral zone, or outright capturing a Dragon Ball. Nail's 2 named cards are really cool. They really synergize well with the stack. His whole idea of pushing him up in levels, rejuvenating. I really like that. Both these cards are just super awesome. I love Nail's regeneration. It's very similar to Lord Slug's regeneration from Panini Z, which I really thought was really cool. It does give you anger and a card draw and some rejuvenation, so really cool. As well as Sudden Onslaught, which kind of has like a Weedle's Revival-esque effect, which is which is probably like my favorite card in the Panini game. If you get the passive, like if you banish it for endurance, you mill your opponent 3. But then it also has a really fun effect when you play it, to where it can give you stages, and you can potentially just rejuvenate a buttload if people are taking Dragon Balls. So really cool. Again, punishing opponent. His whole idea of punishing opponent for taking Dragon Balls is just really thematic for him because he's just trying to stall Frieza from taking wishing at the Dragon Balls. We get Epic Struggle as just a reprint of Time's Warriors tool. Instead of being a floating effect, it's got a remain effect, which was an interesting design choice, and Banish After Use. Same thing with like Hybrid Defense got spiritually reprinted with Banish After Use for balance, I suppose. Each style has its own sphere. Green Stretcher's ploy just works with tutoring. I have a fair amount of cards that rejuvenate, so Treacherous Ploy lets me pretty much be opposing mastery from Fancy, where I get to choose a card that would be styled that I'm rejuvenating and just put it in my hand instead. So I have a lot of effect, like synergy with rejuvenating, and with Nails levels all rejuvenating cards. Uh, Potentially, tutoring every turn, tutoring a board card into play, and tutoring a card to hand. I thought was pretty cool, pretty good combination. So my board cards are really interesting. Now there's a fair spread of cards in green with all sorts of synergies, but I picked some cards. I only picked one drill because I'm going to try to be leveling. But I really liked this card. I do a fair amount of destroying off my deck with a lot of the card effects I run. Nail, of course, destroys cards off his deck on 2. So I figured this could always, do some extra mill damage to somebody. The setups I run are really interesting. All of them can be placed into play with either my mastery or some other effect. Frantic Blast can get put into play if I mill it off my deck. The Sympathetic Ruse shuffles back into my deck if I use it, and I can tutor out of my pile. So I thought that was pretty neat. It's just a reusable block. Another reason I run fewer on blocks, on top of me having Rejuvenation. This card I kind of want to run it too. Just want to try it out at one first. Gives me an extra card draw, which is always never bad. Smoothest Drillers in this game is a freestyle card with added juice, which is really interesting that it got buffed. But Green Meditation just adds some healing to my deck if I'm passing. Congregation is like the card, I think it's like Namekian something catch or something like that, or whatever the heck it is. It's from Panini, and but this card's not banished after use, and it lets me grab my drills from some allies. So I use it as a one that I just kind of loop if I need to with the mastery. There are a couple of allies in the deck, all kind of mostly tech. Kami's just extra rejuvenation if I want a slow game. Guru just gives me extra AT, as well as the ability to deny people capturing Dragon Balls. So again, just extra Dragon Ball denial. Not to mention every time I destroy from my deck, I get anger for my mastery. Vegeta just also punishes for Dragon Balls, and if they don't have Dragon Balls, I get angers. So he's just there to, again, really push my game plan of stopping my opponent from winning by vault victory, as well as just giving me some extra anger. And then launches his tech. I don't really use too many draw effects. I think I only have like two cards that actually make me actively draw, so I just really liked that launch punished people for drawing, because my deck's not based around that. Not that she's a constant, but I just really liked punishing people for drawing. But yeah, really cool deck. I really like a lot of the imagery. A lot of the images are just random Saiyan and Frieza Saga stuff. So yeah, if you really kind of want a different format, the rules are posted up on the Facebook page, and I'll probably like maybe do a video. I've tried to like do a video before. I didn't really like how it came out about the rules and stuff for this format. But if you want something different, something you got some time to look over the cards, you just want something interesting to like play with in your mind or whatever, you can even print these out and everything. It's a really fun format. I really like it. I honestly probably enjoy it more than Fancy and quite a bit actually, because I just like how he has kind of handled a lot of the MPs. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy. If you're looking for something different, I might post a few more of these. But yeah, anyway, take it easy. Peace.